Hey, this is Ray Giles. We're going to talk a little bit about how to work with HTML, and it's really the foundation. So if you really don't know how things work and you'd like to look under the hood, see why websites work the way they work, this video is for you. Okay, here you are looking at a website called W3 Schools. This is a place where you can learn everything you need to know about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and what makes sites function, and all of that fancy coding. And this is actually a very good beginner's place to get coding examples and to help you learn. So let me explain how you're going to use this website. What you're going to do first is point your browser to this web address. That's w3schools.com. Okay? Once you're there, you're going to look for the Learn HTML button. You can click that, or you can go over here and just click this because they're going to take you to the HTML foundational language anyway. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. That's the language of the internet. Your web browser reads that language. What's your web browser? Your web browser is this. This is what's using this to read this page. What does this look like to the browser? Well, to be truthful, this is the code right here that has to be written for your browser to read any kind of script to perform functions. Want to see what it looks like? Okay, let's click here. Go down to look at Tools, Web Developer. Go to the right, look for Page Source. Now you could find Page Source in some other browsers, but it's the same thing whenever you find the source, and this is really the source code of what makes your browser function. This is HTML in the beginning. So let's get started to learn how to write this code. Let's try it ourselves. Let's click that. First of all, you're looking at the left-hand side and the right-hand side of your browser. Let me zoom in a little bit. By the way, you can hold down Control and scroll your mouse wheel to zoom in and out if you want, to follow along. I put this here so I can show you how HTML basically works. What we have is hypertext markup language through what they call it marked up text. It's in color, so it'll help you to distinguish what the instructions are. Really what you're doing is you're passing instructions to your web browser. It follows your instructions and it executes it on the right-hand side. So what we have here is some basic HTML code. First thing, HTML starts with an open bracket and a closed bracket. We call them brackets, different types of names for these guys. It's the greater than or the less than symbol that you would use in mathematics. However, what you should know is that when you turn something on in the computer, in its mind, you have to turn it off. So we note HTML, as you can see here, and I'll hit enter. Even though the browser does not understand line breaks, it will not follow our instructions for that. You will see /HTML on the bottom to turn off the HTML page. Again, I'll separate that so you can see. What you need to know is when you start something, you stop it. So the browser is going to read from left to right. It's going to read across. So you're going to see it starts the header, and the header turns on. You'll note the header turns off. And in between the header, we can have a bunch of what we call meta tags. Now, we'll go through that in another video, a more advanced tutorial on this. But right now, you just need to know that there's a header for an HTML page, no footer, but a body. And in HTML version 5, we do have footers and sections. However, we're only talking about the first version of HTML, which is good for just a basic assignment. This would be a basic instruction I would give to our students, and what we're going to do is exactly this to build our first web page. So let's go back and check this out so we can start the process of how we're going to code. Let's do this. Let's do a what if question. I want to say, well, what if I wanted to change the heading? I want to say, welcome to my website. So let's put that in here and see what it looks like. Welcome to my website. All right, let's click run. Notice you actually run the script, the browser handles the action, and it actually executes the instruction, and you have your header 1 tag. Headers. There are 6 basic headers to HTML, all starting with 1 through 6. And the letters get smaller with each heading. And what you want to know is when you turn it on, you want to turn it off. So that means start my header 1 tag. Say welcome to my website. Stop the header 1 tag. Then move on to the next line and click this is a paragraph. headers automatically have what they call line breaks. You will begin to see this later. I want to have a second line down, and let's say I want to have a second header. I'll type this out, H2, close bracket, and I'll say my name is Ray, and we're going to close that with the H2. Now, if you are typing all caps for your headers or your code, your HTML, it's customary to type all caps, or if you do lowercase, upper lowercase, it's just customary to do upper lowercase. That's just good etiquette for coding, and you'll learn later on that, you know, it will not have any impact on the running. Okay, so here we are. We have the second title down here, H2 tag. Let's put another tag down here, and why don't we put something different? I'll put in here, I am a student at college. You can put your college if you want. And then I'll close it, H3. When it comes to other headers like H4, H5, you can use that, but most times we don't really go that far because then you get into bold text and it gets a little small, but I'll do that for the sake of argument so you can see what we might have here. And my major is business. And I'll close that. Now, let's run that, see what it looks like, and you'll see that it gets a little bit smaller, and each time up to H6, you'll have those header tags. Header tags are good for using for bold and titles, and that's really where headers come in. If you do not choose a header tag, it will be assumed by the browser this is regular text, and you'll see here this is a paragraph. This is where your bio goes. So in here, I would say this is a welcome page to my biography or something, to my home page, so to speak. And you want to put a short bio in here, maybe say something like, in this website, you will learn a little bit more about me. How's that? Yeah. And, you know, whatever else you choose to add is fine. And later on, as you develop your site, you'll be creating this in HTML. It's easy to copy and paste, but knowing what it looks like before you actually go and lay it out is great. Now we're talking about HTML code. I'm going to put a page title here, but it won't show up. So I'll just say Ray Giles web page to start, just to see what, you know, comes in. Other than that, everything that you put inside of your web page has to be between the body tags. Note, that's what you see right here. Everything between the body tags, okay? Let's go forward. What if we want to put a picture? Okay, let's do a picture. What you got to know about the picture is you want to find the image tag. And let's go over here. I'll show you an example. I'm going to go to Google really quick, and I'm going to type HTML picture tag. See, that's how you want to search for anything that you're looking for, or how to find links. And of course, it probably will redirect you to somewhere around W3 Schools, in which case you'll be able to click that, and then we can talk about the picture tag and go through how that works. Now, don't freak out about code. That's rule number one. What you're really looking for are ways to lay out your information properly, but we'll talk about that later on. Here, you have a picture tag, and I'll explain this to you. You see this image source? That's the picture tag right here. It's really just that basic. We're going to use this, but let's go back to our first editor, and we'll do that, and I'll show you how we're going to use that. We're going to type the image tag, open bracket, IMG, SRC, and be careful about inverting these letters. I've done it before. You know, you could type SCR, sometimes it's SRC, and then you're going to put a hashtag just to start it off. What that means is you're asking for a picture, but you don't have the location quite yet of where it is, and we're going to discuss that. Okay, type that in there now, and then you'll be able to see some of the other attributes for objects, because everything to the browser is an object. Images, the picture, the page, you know, those kinds of things are objects. Okay, go ahead, type that in there, and then we'll go look for a picture online really quick. Okay, what we want to know about pictures is there's two types of images that you can put into your browser. Images can be located dynamically and they can be located locally. What do I mean? Okay, let's say this web page is sitting inside of a folder and it's being served on a web server. What I want to do is reference the picture that says ray.jpg. Okay, if I do that, ray.jpg has to be sitting next to this file. Wherever this file is sitting, it's got to know where ray.jpg is. In some cases, where you have the images sitting inside of a folder, we normally do images, which comes from a location in the server, and it's images. I'll type in images there and run, and you should see that. But in the case of pictures that are dynamic, which is what we need, we can't use this. The picture has to be sitting somewhere on the internet in order for us to reference it. Now, I had to go search for a picture online. You might be able to find a picture of yourself online. This is a picture of me. And it happens to be an Instagram. So this is my good friend, Angela. She's a comedian. We're going to put this picture in here. And I'm going to show you how you can do a little bit of semi-nice hacking to get the picture, but this might and might not work for you, but you really want to know if you can. You right-click on a picture that you can find, if you're allowed to use it, and you're going to go down here inside of Firefox and look for View Image. That's what you want to find, and you click it. What you're going to see is your picture isolated from all the other background information. Now see the URL at the top. That's what you want right there. You want that URL. So you have to click that. It might be very long, but what you want to do is copy that. Let me copy that really quick. Go back to my editor. Look for my code and go between your quotations. That's the important thing here, to get it put just right, and paste. Run. And there you have your picture. We go from here to the next step, but this really is what you need to do if you want to get an image in here. Go ahead and practice that for a second, and then we'll see where we go for the next step. Okay, so we have our picture, and we have the URL, and you got this in here, and it's working, see? And then you hit run, you can see your object here. This is the image object. The picture is way too big for my page. I really don't want it that big because I got my text here. So I want to make this picture a little smaller. What I'm going to do is hit a space. Before I shut down my image tag, I'm going to put a space. I'm typing height, H-E-I-G-H-T, equals. I'm going to put 100 pixels because I want to just get started with just a basic set. And then I can change the numbers later. W-I-D-T-H, 100. Let's give us 100 pixels by 100 pixels, wide and tall. Let's run and see what happens. You actually get the picture to behave and actually go down to 100 pixels. So what do we got? We're going to change the height and width, but another thing about pictures is proportion. When it comes to the web, don't stretch your picture. Like put a picture out here because you want to cover the entire space. It does not look good. Stretching pictures causes distortion, and of course, it might make us look fat. So we don't want to do that. Let's just look at this and show us how we're going to see this look for a proportion of maybe 300 by 300. And I hear that the camera does make us look larger in the lens. And, how's that look? Does that look okay? Okay, so that looks good. What we're going to do now is do a little more layouts. We got to still put the copyright. We still maybe put a background image. We're going to do a hyperlink, couple of things to just make this look good. But right now, what if I wanted all of my text to be centered? Look how this looks to the right, you see? I want this to be centered and look kind of even across the board. So what would I use to do that? Notice where I'm going to put that tag is important as well. So I'm going to come up here and we're going to put the word center, which is the tag. I'm not even going to close it. And of course, now you can see what's happening. It's starting to look a little nice. Okay, what if I wanted to put color? See, text color is a part of how we lay out pages, and you want things to stand out with color. It's not recommended that you use a lot of color and different colors on the web page, but I'm not the best web designer for you. I'm a coder, and what I'm going to say is just use color sparingly to guide the eye. But in this case, we're going to just make the title blue. What if we wanted to do that? Let's make the title of my website blue. The object would be called font. Let's zoom in here and type it. Open bracket, font. Notice I'm typing right in here as I spread this letters out, but I'm going to go ahead and do this now. Font equals quotation. And I'm going to give a color called red, and then I'm going to close that bracket. Now, again, you're going to need font space color. Let me put that in there too, by the way, because I forgot to type that. That's font space color. And it's one space. Okay, if I don't turn it off and I run, what do I think happens? Look at this, see? Notice that. Everything will be red, only because the font has not been told to turn off. Now I'm typing older HTML. In later versions of HTML, we don't need the / font, but in this case, we're doing it a traditional way. So bear with me as we do this. For any others that know how HTML works and what we need to do, you will note that the / font will not be needed in HTML5. But in this case, notice how I've turned the font color on to be red, and then I turn the font color off by doing / font. Typing / font rather. Okay? Now, every time you make a change, run. Every time you make a change, run, so that you can see your information being written and laid out the way that you want. And you play with this code, because playing with this makes it easier as you go forward. But it's good to know what's under the hood, like how your engine functions in your car. You start your car, your car starts, you're happy. You're only not happy when what? The car doesn't start, right? And then you gotta what? Look under the hood and take a look at something you never put your eyes on to begin with. And there you go. That's what we're talking about here. All right. So with that said, let's go to the next step and look for putting our copyright. Here we are looking at what we created for this section of our web page. We got some basic stuff, nothing too complex. It is copyright. And I want the little C with the circle. How am I going to find that? Now, turns out what I can do is go to Google, like I showed you before, and type HTML copyright symbol. See that? This is easy when you know how to find things, and this is what I'm trying to show you, is how to go look for yourselves and put you on the path. And then after that, you can do fantastic things. But note, you want the name code. That's what you want for all these symbols that come out. You can do this for the trademark symbol and for the registered symbol as well, for your logo. But right now, let's just take this. We're going to copy this, okay? Put this in memory. All right, let's go back. And we're going to put the word here. This code goes here. Oh, there we go. You see, you want to make sure that something copies when you do that. We're going to go back here and select that and do it from the keyboard. I think that'll work. Back here, paste, there you go. And we want to put this as well. All rights reserved. Now, we'll get into how copyright works, and we'll get into how you can protect your interests and also give your work to other people to use and still, you know, control it. But you want to know that all rights reserved means nothing can be copied without your permission, and in writing they have to give you that. Now notice I'm putting the year 2019, and we'll run and see. Looks nice. That's how we have information. Now here's what you want to know. What you type in here belongs to you. Now see, we've come a long way. We've typed all of this in here, and you don't want to lose this. So what you want to do now is copy this information just to get started here. Okay? And let's go down to our program circle and look for Notepad. Now this came up in another window, but I'm looking for Notepad just to see what we can find in here. And I'm bringing Notepad in here so that you can see what we're going to do. We're going to paste. That's how we get our information out of this into a place where our browser can read it on our machine. You see, this is on the net. Once this window closes, all of this work goes away. We don't want this to happen. So here we go, just to save our work for the time being. Here's the thing about Notepad that you got to remember. When you're going to save using Notepad, and some other applications can type this, you don't have to do this with other apps that are designed for HTML. This is the old way, and if you don't have any other apps at this point, this is what you will do. Use Notepad. Save as. Now, I recommend you put it into an HTML folder. I'm going to go to Documents and look for an HTML folder. I would create an HTML folder and type the word index or home.html. It can be index or home.html, doesn't matter. But for now, purposes of this exercise, let's put that. And then make sure you do this, save as type, all files. It's important to do that so that the browser will know to read this as an HTML document. And there we have it. Once I look at this in the browser, which I'm going to do in a minute, you'll be able to see what this looks like. We'll get back to this right now, and all we'll do is continue to copy and paste into our notepad later on as we go forward. Okay, a word about color. Notice I put this in here in red. I want to have other types of colors. Where would I go to learn more about colors? Let's go to Google again, and let's take this out. Instead of have copyright symbol here, let's put HTML colors. And what you can see are color codes. This is what we're looking for, HTML color codes. There's a lot of websites online that can give us color codes, and what I'm going to show you here from W3 Schools will be one location where you can find color for your web pages. Notice, these are the codes and color shades for red. You can scroll down. Also, in W3 Schools, you just look for color picker. That's all you got to look for. And you'll get millions of colors you can choose from. The important thing is to know that you want to use the hashtag. That will be this. This hashtag is what you need in order for this to work. It's a hexadecimal code that you're going to click. And let's say I want this color. This doesn't have a name necessarily, but I want to use this, and I'll copy this and paste it in place of the red that I want to use. See? Simple as that. And all you got to do is remember to go look for HTML color codes to color anything. Now again, if you want to create different colors for each type of text, sure, you just need to know where you would put your code. You want to start maybe a color at the beginning of your title. Let's do that. We're going to go after the H2 tag, ask for another font, ask for another color. The color will be equal to, I'll put an open bracket and a hashtag just to close it off. But again, I have to shut it down. Remember, I don't want this to be all over, so I'll do that. Notice, you see it, right? Now all I want to do is change this in the middle. I'll go look for another color which might match, which might not match. You know, I'm not going to really spend a lot of time looking for colors here, but you're going to be able to find all kinds of colors online, and whatever you need, look for the hashtags, and you'll see there's a plethora of Google sites that'll help you. All right, let's go ahead and put this back. Put that between the hashtag there, which of course it starts with the hashtag. You can type this out, but of course, remember, this is part of the game. You turn it on, you turn it off. That's the important part of understanding how the computer system works. When we get into programming and we start doing logic and programming logic, you will see how this plays a role in starting and stopping functions, because you are beginning to program at this stage. Okay, so practice this and start doing your project. This is all a work in progress. Your website is never ever done. You're always doing something to it, and you're updating it. And remember, you want to make sure you save your work. Just because you come here, don't let this go away. You go back to your notepad and you copy and you paste it. Now, what did we do? We built this web page in this editor in W3 Schools. And then we actually saved it, put it into a program for Notepad, and we saved it and had it run on our web browser and literally learned HTML in this website. Go here and learn about HTML to start. Well, I hope you like this video, and subscribe if you want to learn more. We're going to have more videos about how to program and do other types of things on the web. If you really want to know more and you have any questions, then put a message in there for me and we'll talk. Take care for now.